Hello.
Hi. I'm Laura Jones with Comic-Con Programming, and I'm here with Lisa from Thought Bubble.
Hello.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do in comics. And
so I started working in comics, I think around about 2015. And the first thing I ever did was a cover and some interior art for Elephant Men with Richard Starkins. And then after that, Will Dennis asked me to do some stuff in the Witching Hour Vertigo anthology. And then from then on, I haven't looked back. I ended up doing Supreme Blue Rose with Warren. And then at the same time, I was working with Shelley Bond on Bodies with Vertigo with Cy Spencer. So it's been really crazy from that point on. Now I do covers for everyone and posters and various things.
yeah, posters, some beautiful posters.
Yeah, thank you. That's a Mondo one.
Yeah. Is there a big difference when you do the covers versus the posters?
Yeah, I think so. People don't think they should be, really, because you're creating an image and that's the way it is. But I guess, I mean, the pay, it's a bit crude to talk about, but the pay is very different. So clearly that gives you more time to spend on one thing versus another. So with comic books, you generally get paid a certain amount, and then you have to put, for me, 2 or 3 days aside to do that. With a poster, I get paid a lot more, and so I have a process that I go through which takes me around about anything between 1 and 3 weeks. So I really spend a lot more time on that. And when I'm doing comic book covers, there might be a certain cover I get at a certain time where I don't have other work in, and I just put I just have the luxury to put the extra time in to work on that more, and then that's something I'm really proud of. I mean, I'm proud of everything I do. Everything I draw, I kind of want to do my best. But yeah, as an artist, you generally have to balance this thing between money and time and what you can and can't do, and especially when deadlines hit as well.
Yeah, I bet. And how did that transition into creating Thought Bubble?
Oh yeah, so Thought Bubble kind of happened before any of my comics work. And I think really Thought Bubble is how I got into comics, kind of unwittingly. So when was it? It was 2007. I was working at the comic shop Traveling Man. And I remember speaking to my friend Nabil there saying, I really want to create a kind of comics event that would serve the community, and lots of like-minded people can get together and talk about the things they love. And I knew lots of artists and writers in the industry through working at Traveling Man. So I was able to call on them and ask them if they wanted to come along. And so really this kind of small event that was going to be community it is community focused, but the main goal at the time was just let's put on some writing workshops that would serve our community. I was expecting about 300 people to come along, and it was double that. It was just packed. And everybody was just so positive about things after that, and everyone was kind of saying, when are you in the next one? And it was just really lovely, and so it felt crazy not to move forward with that. But I don't know if you'll feel this, but because I don't think you're in the same situation as me, but I'm not an event manager. And so when I did that first Thought Bubble, it was pretty fraught for me. I ran it with Tamsin Isles, Adi Granoff's wife, and neither of us have any experience in event management. So we kind of winged it, and we were just doing it on pure love of the medium. But when something suddenly snowballs and gets a lot bigger, and everybody wants to be a part of it, you suddenly have this thing that you love and you want to grow and make bigger, but you have no experience of event management. And so, as you probably know, events within themselves are pretty stressful. So it's kind of I had at least a 5-year period where I was just pulling my hair out, just caring so much about the show. And wanting everything to be great and perfect and wanting everybody that came to have a good time, until we were finally big enough to bring more people on board, and then my workload would ease up a bit. But yeah, I digress actually. Your question was how did that complement my art? I think it was probably like the second or third year at Thought Bubble, where people like Becky Cloonan and people I knew were coming to the show. And then I got an Instagram account and a Twitter, and I suddenly started posting my personal artwork that I do up there. And all these people in the comic book industry that knew me through Thought Bubble were starting to say, oh my God, you can draw, you're really good. And at the time I was like, well, I love drawing. I've always wanted to be a comic book artist, but I never felt like I was good enough. And it just snowballed from there.
So do you think that's something you would want to share with people, that you should never feel like you're not good enough to be in comics?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that kind of is a motto that anyone should take throughout life generally. Like, never feel like you're not good enough for anything you do, because those people that you admire and love were not great at drawing or doing something else at one point, but they just were focused and tried really, really hard to better themselves constantly. And then they ended up getting to a place where they're revered and they're creating amazing stuff. And so that's the same for anyone. I don't believe that anybody is born with the ability to draw brilliantly. I think it's a skill that's learned, that anyone can do. And it's a talent that comes through perseverance, where you just want something so much, you draw and try, and you finally get somewhere. And I think anyone can do that.
That's great. What do you think is the heart of Thought Bubble?
What is at the heart?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about, comics is something you have to be passionate about. I don't think anyone gets into comics kind of feeling lukewarm about it.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing that's driven Thought Bubble from the beginning. I've loved comics since I was a child, and when I was a child, I really struggled at school. I had like problems growing up. I have a history of I don't know how to describe it, but like I was fostered and adopted, and so as a child, I at a very young age I was displaced, and those kind of things stick with you throughout time. And then going through school, I always felt like things were just very difficult for me, or I couldn't fit in, and I definitely wasn't in a sound place to be able to learn. And I had dyslexia as well, so I could never read books with the rest of the class as a child moving forward. And so my escapism and the way I learned to understand things and read was through the comic books that my dad bought me. And that was everything to me. Like, it's how I learned to read and write. And I left school not able to read and write properly, but comics still stayed with me at that point. And by then Vertigo was forming, so you suddenly had this whole world of comic books that were for teenagers and adults. And you had like Shade the Changing Man, Preacher, Sandman, Death, all these amazing titles that I'd love. And so throughout my entire life, it's like the heart of everything I do. I've loved comics. They helped me to read, write. I learnt to draw through them. I went into my own world reading them. And all my heroes were the artists who drew comics and the writers. And so I guess that's really fueled Thought Bubble moving forward, because it's something that I love so much that when you love something so much, you want to share it with other people. And because I had a real problem reading and writing growing up, I kind of thought, wouldn't it be wonderful to use this medium that I love so much to you know, help other people to read and write, and look at children and adults that have literacy issues and show them how valuable comics can be with that. And so that's at the heart of Thought Bubble, really. It's this sense of loving the medium and building a community from that where everyone feels welcome and can enjoy it too.
Yeah, I think that's something I noticed at Thought Bubble, and something I think is in common with Comic-Con. Like, you know, when I was younger going to Comic-Con, it's a place where you always feel welcome, and people are so nice, and, you know, I never had so many people open doors for me and try to help, and I think comics is something that really brings people together in a really special way. And I know that you guys do a lot for education, and do you want to talk about some of those programs?
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree too. I think when I first went to San Diego, I really felt that. You feel the sense of community and just the kind of little things you notice being there that you don't see at any other shows, like, you know, the disability access and the blood banks and all these various other things where it's kind of a festival, an event showing that they are doing some good and they're caring about the larger community. That's everything to me. And I noticed that at San Diego the first time I went. And you know, that's absolutely the case with Thought Bubble, that we've just tried to do that from the beginning. And I think it comes from people, you know, people that work on an event, and event organizers caring about the well-being of people. And any event you put on, if that's at the forefront of your mind, you know, everything you do is going to be aimed towards that. What was the question that you asked initially? I've forgotten it.
Well, we talked about what the heart of Thought Bubble was, and then we talked about the education stuff that you guys do.
Yeah, the education stuff. So that kind of fits perfectly into the education side and everything that I was talking about with my struggles with reading and writing as I was growing up. It was just really important for me to be able to do something like that with regards to our event. And so we've been lucky enough to, you know, grow what we've done massively. And now we have like huge organizations that take part in what we do. You know, every year we raise money for Bernardo's, who were the charity that took care of me as a baby. They put me into foster care and found me parents for adoption. And so every year we raise money for them and just try and promote their cause to help children and young people in the UK move forward and have access to things they wouldn't usually have access to. And we work with companies like Leeds Autism Services, where we're using our event and environment to bring them on board and help them to feel more comfortable in crowded spaces and to do activity that builds confidence within them. At the same time, we've worked with various schools and libraries to put really amazing writers and artists into masterclass and workshop settings where they're directly teaching and mentoring young people within those environments. So it's something we're building on every year. We're lucky that every year we've been funded by Arts Council England, and it's enabled us to grow that educational aspect of what we do because it's so important to us, and they can see that what we're doing is having a really positive impact and that they're helping fund us more to build on
that. Education is something that Comic-Con, you know, is very important to us too, especially, you know, bringing comics to kids into the classroom and where was I going with this? Oh, so tell us about what we think we're gonna do together this year. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, we're still discussing a lot of things, but I'm really, really excited about the team up because obviously, as I've said, like I'm a massive admirer of your show, and I've had the good fortune to get to know some of you in the core San Diego team a lot better. really well over the last few years, and I think you're all wonderful people. So it's really exciting what we can do to move forward. Obviously, when you're dealing with two organizations and events that are on different sides of the world, it's incredible to be able to share contacts and attendees and love of what everybody's doing. And so I think what's happened, the horrible thing with what's happened at the moment with the quarantine and none of us being able to hold events right now, and it means we're moving everything digitally. I think the wonderful thing that's coming from that is that there's a lot more content that we can put online and make free and accessible to everyone, and it suddenly means that us working together, we can share what we're doing with your community, and you can share what you're doing with ours. And I just see that as being something where we're doing the thing that we've always done over the last 13 years, but we're just reaching further with your help, and vice versa. And that's really exciting and heartwarming. And I think that should be something good that we take from what's happening at the moment, and all the troubles that are going on, that we work together to make something good come from it. And if that's free online masterclasses, workshops, fun craft workshops for kids, things to keep people entertained at home, that's something that's bringing us all closer together, still sharing the love of comics and art and writing and craft.
Yeah, I agree. I think comics, has always, ever since I was a kid, like you, I was so into comics, and they can take you somewhere else, and they can, but also, it's also relatable. And I think that's something people really need is to feel that community. And that's something that's really true of Thought Bubble and at Comic-Con, that people really come together at those times. And I think just because we can't get together physically, I think we could still come together. And I think education is such a big part of that. We do a comics conference for educators and librarians every year, which is at the library, and it's at the same week as Comic-Con, but you don't have to have a badge to attend if you're a librarian or educator or teacher. And so we're going to be able to put that online this year and be able to share those resources with teachers globally about how to use comics in the classroom, and how to use gaming and to get adjusted to dorm life. And we do all kinds of programs like that. And I think, now to share them with even a larger community, especially with the Thought Bubble, is something that's really special.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's exciting.
So what do you think something that you still want to achieve in both comics and at Thought Bubble?
That's a hard question. With Thought Bubble especially, I kind of I just want to have a larger reach. So everything that we do at Thought Bubble, like, we really care about making people feel happy and part of the community. And the wider we can spread that, we know that we're making the individuals that come to our show happier and feeling part of something. So I just want to make Thought Bubble bigger and better and touch more people's lives, make people feel connected to our community. So the more people we can bring on board to enjoy what we do, the better that is. And part of what we're doing with you guys is going to hopefully do that too, which is lovely. In terms of my personal art career, I don't know, I feel like I feel super lucky that I'm kind of doing everything that I love at the moment. Like, I feel very lucky that someone like you has got my handmade and poster behind it.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Oh, thanks. So yeah, I'm in like a situation where I still get like an email for a new job, from one week to the next, and I'm like, this is amazing. This is like the best job ever. And I don't quite know how to go up from that. I'm just like getting briefs with people and companies asking me to draw things that I love and want to draw. So everything feels really perfect in that respect. I just hope that that keeps going, and that my career has longevity and just keeps going on and on until I'm ready to stop or until I can't draw anymore. Like that would be my only wish, really, that people keep wanting to see my art. Because you know, when you're an artist, with any industry really, if you have a particular style, that can go in and out of fashion. So I guess with artists generally, you always worry that, like, will people get bored of what I draw? Will people not want to employ me anymore? And so, yeah, I just want people to keep wanting to look at my art.
What are the things that you draw for fun? Like, what's your favorite thing to draw?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a big film fan, so I love being inspired by my favorite movies and drawing from that. And I'm lucky enough to work with film companies, poster companies, Mondo, to you know, to draw posters for my favorite films. But you know, I think if I wasn't being paid to do that, it's something I would do anyway. I'd just be drawing from my favorite subject matters and just doing it for fun because I enjoy it, because I'm watching other art that inspires me.
I think because one of my favorite things about Thought Bubble really was, you know, all the great content that you have and all the great creators that are there. But like I said before, it kind of has the same spirit, I think, as Comic-Con. And I think so much of that is due to the fans of Thought Bubble and of Comic-Con. And I think to maybe bring some of those people together might be really special.
Yeah, absolutely. And can I ask you, because we're friends and I really respect your opinion too, like what are your favorite things that you experienced during Thought Bubble?
I think for me, you know, I went by myself and didn't know anyone. And I just kept going up to people and talking to them. And I think comics is something that really brings people. Everybody was nice. Nobody said like, who are you? I don't want to talk to you about, you know. You guys have a great party. And I went by myself, but made a ton of friends, some of whom I still talk to. I think comics is something that when you love it so much, you just want to talk to other people about it. And I brought home so many great comics. And I think, yeah, I mean, the comics is something you really care about. And I think people just want to share that. And yeah, I mean, I think it makes a lot of people really happy, myself included.
Yeah.
You can really feel that there. You feel like everyone who's there really wants to be there and really cares about what people are making. And yeah, and the venue was really beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. That's so lovely to hear. And you mentioned the party as well. That's definitely my favorite bit. I just
DJ?
Huh?
Do a little bit of DJing?
Yeah, I did last year actually. It's the first year I got to do it because usually I'm just so stressed and wired from the event and everything that's going on. You're kind of running from one place to the next. But this year I had such an amazing team that I actually got a little bit of time to do that. And, you know, from a creator's point of view, I mean, I completely take off my creator's hat when I'm running Thought Bubble, but from a creator's point of view, networking at shows is everything. Like having a party and being able to let your hair down and knowing that you can speak to and hang out with colleagues that you never get to see, it is lovely. Because like anybody that's got a 9 to 5 day job in the office, it's like you're going to a place where you get to hang out and work with and talk to the people you know. Some of them are friends, maybe some of them aren't, but you're like interacting with people. It's lovely. But as an artist or writer, you don't get that. It's like it's completely solitary, like for a lot of people anyway. And so it's really nice to be able to see people at shows. And so that's why at Thought Bubble I always try and throw like the biggest party possible. And it's always a party that's like full of love. It's so nice. Everyone's so happy and huggy.
Yeah, it really was. It was really nice. And I think the UK has some amazing comics creators, and
yeah,
we don't, you know, they don't always come here, and to see them, you know, to see some of what you'll be doing and what you are doing has been really widen at least my view to creators I might not have otherwise heard of. And I think anytime you can find new creators and new comics is a pretty good day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah, any final thoughts on, the year or what we're going to be doing together, or
oh my
you're all
goodness.
hanging in there?
Final thoughts on the year generally. Don't know where to
How can it be July?
I'm really, really feeling for everyone at the moment. I hope everyone's happy and well and has a safe environment that they're in. That's all I can think about at the moment. It's like, this year has been tough, and I really feel for people that are maybe not in the best situation, and they maybe don't have the best family life, and they're stuck in a place. I find that quite hard to deal with right now. But I think things generally, it's looking like we're through at least half of it, and we're going to start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And in terms of events generally, what we're doing is the best thing we can do, doing things online and trying to bring things into people's homes. Fingers crossed, we'll move forward to a place where we can get our events up and running again, and everything will be okay. Social disorder will find some equilibrium, and we'll be able to move forward from this. I feel like 2020 has highlighted a lot of stuff at the moment that really needed addressing, and it's kind of very frenetic and upsetting at the moment in terms of the news, social media, and everything. I've gotten really political, and I wasn't meaning to, but what I'm trying to think about is the good that can come from this, from these conversations we're having, and from events like ours being able to do something positive within our communities, to keep going, to move it online, and then to get back to where we were, and to focus more on the things that really need focusing on. Individuals feeling okay, things being addressed within our industry and the wider world, about everybody being treated in the right way, and making sure we all work in environments where that's the case. It's like I'm trying to think about how we move forward from this and make everyone feel okay. That's gotten really intense. That's a really intense point.
Well, I don't know. When people so you mentioned the fundraising you do. Part of that is the Thought Bubble anthology.
Yes. Yeah.
Can people still get those online?
Yeah. Well, we've actually held off on this year, so because we've had to postpone our event this year, and then we had Diamond and Image have to shut down for a while. And we didn't know where we were for a while as well, whether we'd be able to run an event or not. We were really holding off for quite a few months, kind of keeping our fingers crossed, thinking, well, this will be okay, because we're at the end of the year, looking way ahead. I had my optimistic hat on, thinking we'll be okay, it'll be okay. And so we've been kind of holding back a lot, and the anthology got pushed back because of that. And obviously we don't have the show anymore this year, but I think the best thing for us to do with the anthology is, we've got most of the content already there and waiting to go. But personally, I just want to wait until the world's being restored a little bit before we move forward again. Just we kind of try and get a bit more of normality, and then move forward with our anthology. So it will probably be early next year when that comes out. But I have been looking at a lot of pages from it recently, because people are still sending them in, and they're looking amazing. It's like it's some of the best content we've ever had, so I am excited to get it out.
Something to look forward to is always good.
Yeah, I'll send you a copy.
So where can people find you and Thought Bubble online?
Yeah, so it's thoughtbubblefestival.com. And then on social media, on Twitter, we're ThoughtBubble UK, and Instagram, it's, oh, my mind's gone. ThoughtBubble, I think it's ThoughtBubble Festival. I should know. But if you
People can search for it.
Through, yeah. But with our digital content, obviously, we're going to be doing a few things with you guys coming up pretty soon. So we'll be linking that on our social media and vice versa. And then as we move forward to November, we'll be putting more stuff on there and promoting more things. So we're just trying to do more things at the moment to engage with people that may still be not able to leave their homes and go out, and just to let people know that we're still here, still living comics, and we're here to talk and engage with our community still, and we'll all get through this together.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today, and for talking to me about Thought Bubble and all your beautiful comics. And I can't wait for next year.
Oh, thank you too. It's been lovely to talk to you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.